This is for Ken Swan. In that long ago year of 1955, you were a member of the Kirkland House Committee who sponsored a film called This is Kirkland. In the last few months, I have come across a 400-foot can of 8mm movie film of that movie, together with an ancient roll of audio tape which contains its original soundtrack. I have digitized and remastered these two items as best I can, considering their very primitive technology and the fact that they have been in storage under less than ideal conditions for almost 60 years. The resulting DVD videotape is attached. I hope you enjoy it and can make good use of it during our upcoming 55th class reunion.
This is Kirkland. If you were trying to find an adjective adequately to describe Kirkland House, you might use friendly or congenial. And Kirkland is a friendly house, perhaps more so than any of the other houses. Small, friendly groups such as these are common sights around the courtyard throughout the year. Although it is always dangerous to make generalizations, we here at the house feel there is a definite Kirkland spirit. The spirit of a house is something hard to define. You might say it is born of the personalities of all the people connected with Kirkland, the master, the tutors, the staff, and the students. This picture will try to give you an idea of the way the house appears to a small group of undergraduates from different backgrounds with different interests, but having in common an interest in the status and well-being of their house. Kirkland is one of 7 undergraduate housing units at Harvard, and in this capacity it fulfills many functions. The one person who has the greatest opportunity to impress upon the house his personality and outlook is the house master. Professor Mason Hammond, master for 10 years, is about to retire, and in his place next September will be Professor Charles Taylor. Mr. Taylor comes to us with his work cut out for him. To take up where the Mace left off, with his scholarly bearing, his genial disposition, and his booming voice, is not an easy task. The Alston Burrs senior tutor, Dr. Ayers Brinzer, has a reputation for being one of the fairest persons in the world, and one whale of a guy. As disciplinarian and head of the intricate house tutorial system, Dr. Brinzer has been an outstanding success. We also believe that in Harriet and Lois we have the two sweetest secretaries in the whole university. They make a letter from Dr. Brinzer almost a pleasure to answer. The House Committee, shown here at one of their weekly dinner meetings, is the official liaison between the students and the administration of the House. An elected body of 10 men, the committee collects dues, and with this money supports the various House activities throughout the year. Perhaps a good way to show you about Kirkland is to follow an undergraduate through his daily routine, starting in the wee hours when men like Jack here are busy cramming for that art exam. It's been a long and a hard night for Jack, and he is having his morning cup of coffee to help stay alert for the next few hours. Some of us manage to get to class where these men are headed, while some prefer to wait for the mailman and have breakfast at noon. Let us bypass the hours spent in class or in bed, taking up the story again at noontime. The air of informality at Kirkland is most obvious in the dining room, and here the boys are signing in for lunch. The food is served cafeteria style, and of course the motto of all you can eat is strictly observed. The ladies behind the counter are glad to prepare sandwiches and extras in case you don't like cream chicken or hominy grits. It is often a real problem to decide where to sit because you are welcome at almost every table. To those of us who have just arisen, feeling that terrible gnawing sensation due to a trip to Cronin's, the famous bust of John Kirkland probably looks something like this. Now that the real work of the day is done, the Kirkland house man casts about for something to do until dinner. There are many diversions available to him. Some prefer pool or billiards, often against formidable opposition. Here, Mr. Taylor, a former champion, takes on a student. Oh, what a miss. Now there's a good shot. But perhaps the seniors have the right answer. With generals finished, they take off a few hours during the afternoon to lounge in the sun, to lean out of their windows, just sit on the steps and think or talk, either in groups or individually, like the lonesome lover here.
And some take off to the river and the beaches. Of course, there are always a few who will spend the afternoon studying. The Kirkland House Library is probably the most unique in the entire house system. It is a 3-story frame house built before the Revolution, and it offers many small, quiet rooms, ideal for studying or sleeping, as any good library should. Say, Jack, will you pass the book, please? What? No pictures? Instead of studying, some may prefer simply to browse through the 14,000 volumes, or to take advantage of the record library and soundproof listening room in the basement. Now here's one that hasn't been out in a long time.
During the fall term, the athletes repair to Soldiers Field to defend Kirkland House honor. We have always shown well in Strauss trophy competition and have won, as this picture is made, the trophy more often than any other house. This year's football team finished high in the standings. Here the boys receive from Lowell, while LeMaster and Harriet seem excited over the whole thing. Here's a fine run back. Finally stopped. Here our fullback pulls his way up for 7 or 8 yards. Oh, somebody missed a block. Tough. Lovely punt. Come on, Big Red. Get down on it. Down. Mrs. Hammond preferred to watch soccer, and she took Ruffles along to make noise for Kirkland, shown here in yellow jerseys as we all class Adams House. This was for the annual trophy. That's a nice pass over. For those who were athletically inclined, but not quite ambitious enough to make the trip down to the river, the courtyard afforded playing space for the annual stoop ball tournament. Anyway, the scenery is better up here. On this particular Sunday afternoon, the courtyard offered many diversionary sights. But the game went on. Of course, Jack here is still at it. That's right, boy. Keep with it. This is Group A. With the coming of late afternoon on Thursdays, all the members of the house are informally invited to the masters for tea. The simple sign at home, "Please walk in," gives even the most timid souls sufficient courage to enter. Mrs. Hammond, shown here, was a most gracious hostess, and how she was able to remember everyone will be a source of amazement. One lump, please. The guests of members of the house are invited, and here one student has brought his wife along. You are apt to meet any number of interesting people. The house secretaries attend, as do several of the tutors. And sometimes members of the master's family drop in for a chat. House members meet people from the master's classes and people whose origin remains a mystery. Watch it, Chuck. Christmas brings with it the usual diversion. An annual tradition here at the house is a Christmas dinner and plays performed after the meal. A tutor leads the discussion at one table while students are busy devouring a special holiday meal. And what a meal it is, too. Beer and wine courtesy of the house committee. Mr. Ewell, a former house superintendent, leads the Kirkland brass band around the dining room in the parade of the boar's head, a tradition here in the house. The Christmas play gang is busy making the final preparations for the annual restoration drama, performed on a stage filled of chicken wire, friction tape, spit, and prayers. In this scene, Tom slays the bailiff and his follower, superbly portrayed by Eddie Chamberlain, with the master adequately performing in a minor role. Preparations are underway for the grand finale. Buddy, in our play, everybody dies. Now he admires the female form divine. He will look, but he will never touch. No. Returning to our daily routine, let us look at the Kirkland man on a typical weekend evening. As an experiment, we tried a mixer at the house this year. Girls from the neighboring colleges were invited, and here they come. Man, oh man, don't they look pretty. Now, according to the boys who attended, Many worthwhile contacts were made, and several of these girls appeared at subsequent house dances. Here are some of the boys in action. Apparently, this particular evening holds great promise, because there are gay expressions in the faces of those signing the guest book. Don't forget, boys, out by 11. I'll be checking the rooms myself tonight. This was the weekend of the Kirkland Cabaret. Here, Ted Bernard and his 5 dachshunds warm up before the show really gets on the road. Here now, some of the folks, perhaps slightly dazed by the dance committee's special punch recipe, are seen in various stages of the affair. House committee men tripping the light fantastic. Oh, it's a quiet group. Let's have a toast, somebody. Cheers. During the week, the Kirkland house man finds other means for entertaining himself during the long winter evenings. Hey, fellas, what's this? Let's go. I hope it isn't for keeps.